welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever really stopped to think about how you became, well, you? It's this incredible journey, right? And today, we're going to break down exactly how a child's identity gets formed, piece by piece.
So let's get right to it. How does a child even learn who they are? I mean, think about it. How does a tiny baby, this little bundle of cries and needs, eventually become a person who can look in the mirror and think, that's me? Well, it's not a switch that just flips. It's a process, and it kicks off almost the second they're born. So here's the plan for our explainer. First, we'll look at that initial moment of self-awareness, the first I am. Then we'll get into the two sides of the coin, the personal versus the social self. After that, we're heading to the social playground where a lot of this gets built. We'll also touch on our cultural blueprint and wrap it all up by seeing why building this strong foundation is so important.
All right, section 1, the first I am. This is all about that spark of self-awareness. Our whole journey really starts way back in infancy with that very first glimmer when a child realizes, hey, I exist. I'm a separate thing from everything else around me. And this whole thing seems to unfold in a few key steps. First, there's that moment of recognition. I am my own person. Step 2 is about realizing that this self is stable over time. You know, the me I was yesterday is the same me I am right now. And then, step 3, they start to form what's called a categorical self. Basically, they start putting themselves into little boxes or categories. And in early childhood, these categories are super concrete. We're talking about stuff you can easily see or measure. So a kid will think, okay, I am 3 years old. I am a boy. I am short. I am good at climbing. It's these simple, observable facts that become the very first foundational bricks of their identity. Okay, so once those basic bricks are laid, things get more complex. Let's move on to the next part, the personal versus the social self. This is really the blueprint for identity, and it's built from two core parts that are always talking to each other. So you can kind of think of a child's identity as this constant push and pull. On one hand, you've got your personal identity, that feeling of being unique and different from everyone else. And on the other hand, you've got your social identity, that feeling of belonging, of being the same as others in your group. It's this incredible balancing act between the me and the we. Let's dive into personal identity for a second. This is your subjective feeling of being you. It's your sense of uniqueness, your individuality. It's all the stuff that makes you think, there's no one else out there quite like me. And then there's the other side, social identity. This is all about the we. It's how you feel connected to others, how you identify with your family, your friends, or maybe a larger culture. It's that powerful feeling of belonging. And, a child's self-concept is built from a whole bunch of different factors. We're talking age, gender, their family's religious or ethnic background, what they're interested in, who their role models are, their hobbies. All of these are like raw materials that they use to build both their personal and social identities. Okay, so we've got the blueprint. Now let's head into the construction zone for identity, the social playground. This is where all these ideas stop being abstract and start getting built in the real world through interaction with other kids. And here's a really crucial point. Identity isn't something that just happens inside your own head. It literally can't exist outside of a social context. It's constructed. You build it, test it, and reshape it through your relationships with other people. And this is so interesting. Research shows that it's the quality of a child's friendships that really impacts their identity. Think about it. A good friendship acts like a mirror. It reflects back who you are, it validates you, and that helps you develop a stronger sense of both your personal and social self. Yeah, peer groups are a huge deal. Belonging to a group, or on the flip side, being excluded from one, is incredibly profound for a kid. Both experiences, the good and the bad, give them powerful information that informs who they are and who they're becoming. And we can't talk about the social playground without talking about, well, play. It's so much more than just having fun. Play is basically a workshop for identity. It's where kids build self-esteem, they learn moral and social skills, they get a sense of control over their lives, and maybe most importantly, they learn how to roll with the punches, how to be resilient. All right, so we've been looking at the close-up person-to-person stuff. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture, the landscape of the self. And that is our cultural blueprint. So what is cultural identity? It's that feeling of belonging to a group that shares a distinct culture. It could be tied to your nationality, ethnicity, religion, you name it. It's the part of you that connects you to a shared story, a shared way of seeing the world. And think about how this plays out. This question on the screen is a perfect example. What happens if a child is told the food their family eats is gross, instead of being invited to share it? you can see right away how a simple comment like that can have a huge impact. When a child's culture is validated, they feel seen and their identity is strengthened. But when it's devalued, it can really hurt their self-esteem. Okay, so let's put it all together. We've talked about the first spark of self-awareness, the personal and social self, the social playground, and the cultural blueprint. Now for the big finale, building a strong foundation and why all of this matters so much. The reason this is so critical is because a child's earliest years are literally the foundation for the rest of their life. We're talking about everything, their physical and mental health, their emotional security, and of course, their identity. This isn't a practice run. A strong, positive sense of self in childhood is directly linked to well-being for a lifetime. So this naturally leads to a question for all of us. What are the ways that we, as parents, as educators, as neighbors, as a society, are involved in a child's identity formation? Because we are involved. Every single one of us is part of this construction crew, whether we realize it or not. And that brings us to the real challenge, doesn't it? How can we make sure that our involvement is inclusive and truly supportive of all children? The goal has to be creating environments where every single kid has the space and support to build a strong, authentic sense of who they are. So we'll leave you with this to think about. How are things like resilience, social belonging, and emotional awareness connected to bigger ideas like diversity and equity? Because when we really focus on helping children build a healthy identity, we're doing more than just helping one kid. We're actually building the foundation for a stronger, more inclusive society for everyone.